Yo, what's up, guys? Malik, bringing you guys this commentary. I'm not really sure if this is going to be the first and the last, or if I'm going to be able to do more in the future. I guess it depends on if we get a new game or not, but anyways, I'm going to be doing this Q&A, and I think I have a bunch of questions. I have like around like 50-something questions, 50 or more, and it's going to take a while to, do this entire video. I hope it's not like around like 20 minutes, but we'll see. Anyways, I think throughout this video I have a bunch of random runs, like zeros and runs with faults in them, and if you're good enough to take them, then feel free. I don't really plan on revisiting any of the tracks in this video, and I think they would all make for some pretty good YouTube videos themselves. But anyways, let's get to these questions. Alright, so the first question is by Gnome Beard, and they said, will you ever try level 8? No, I will never try level 8. Alright, so the next question is by Rocky Cat, and he says, what's your best advice for becoming good at ninjas? I'd probably say the main thing that you should be thinking about whenever you're playing is becoming more smooth and consistent. And something else that you should be doing is playing tracks that are out of your league, rather than playing tracks that you could run through easily and expect to, get better at the game. It's a lot faster if you play something that's, hard for you. And as long as you focus on stuff like that, then you should be good. So the next comment is by Nakra, and he says, fall in love with your voice, Kappa, really nice. Thanks for the really nice compliment, Kappa. So the next question is by Clutch Meisterflex, and he says, does being black help play trials? I think this is a pretty good question. Next question. What happened to the top tier channel? I have no idea what happened to the top tier channel. You should probably ask the owner. Next question is by Rocker21344. He says, how did you get such an amazing voice? I think I got lucky. Next question is by Dubfire. He says, Classy or Borads? I'm friends with both, and I think Borads is a cool ass dude, but when it comes to skill, I'd probably have to give it to Classy. Alright, so the next question is by Flex Factory, and he says, how high do you see the ninja levels getting? Keep in mind nobody thought there would be a 7 at one point, and now there is an 8 or 2. Alright, so first I'm going to answer what you wrote, and then I'm going to answer what I think you meant to write. So first, I think that the ninja levels can go pretty high, probably like past 10 or something, as long as the builders have a reference to like their previous ninja level. So as long as they know what a level 8 was like, then they could just use that as a base and then make it harder from there, and then make a level 9 out of that. Alright, so what I think you meant to write was how high will the levels get before people stop playing them, I guess, or when they become impossible. And I'd probably say that's around like an 8 or a 9, because right now it takes like a really long time to pass an 8. It takes a lot of effort. Not to mention you have to go through a lot of inconsistent parts, a lot of really long checkpoints, and some of the checkpoints take like a minute or a minute 30 to pass, and you don't have that much time to spare if you're going to keep on faulting on one checkpoint over and over. So I think eventually, probably around like a high 8 or low 9, the tracks are going to become like, ridiculously hard to the point where you're forced to pass every checkpoint like in really low time. And I really can't see that happening. I can't see people going through that without I guess fucking deleting the game or some shit. So I'd probably say the cap is going to be around like an 8 or a 9. You also got to keep in mind that the skill gap between the higher tier players back then was a lot bigger, because there was a lot of room to improve, but now it's really small, and I think everybody's really consistent, so I'm not really sure if that whole new ninja level will be possible in the future thing is going to apply as easily. But anyways, I'm going to move on to the second set of questions. So I'm back with the second set of questions, and I think we're going to throw in a bunch of random zeros here, and 2 of them are from the top tier channel. If you're not subscribed there, then you should, and if you like zeros. 2 of them are just random runs that I didn't really think were good enough to be posted alone. So yeah, feel free to take them if you can, but I'm going to get into the second set of questions. First one is by Denmark, and he says, how long did it take you to zero Mr. Fraps and Human, and how did you feel afterwards? So the entire grind as a whole took over a few months. I wasn't playing it consistently, not to mention I wasn't playing the game consistently. It was an on and off grind. Probably played it for like 2 or 3 hours whenever I did decide to play it. Some of those grinds were with Naughty, and one day I was lucky enough to play it in the morning for like an hour, I think, and I got past checkpoint 5, and I told everybody that if I got past checkpoint 5 and 0, then I would zero the track, and lucky enough that's what actually would happen. And I think afterwards it was just like a normal hard track pass where your heart's beating really fast and you don't really know what to say. But yeah, other than that, that's basically how everything went. Alright, so the next question is by Arc1, and he says, if you could patch Fusion, what would you change? I'm not really sure if you mean fix something or just change, but if I could change something, it would definitely be the garage, because the garage is trash. The next question is by Phoenix Sama, and he says, how many hours do you spend on trials per week? As of right now, it's 0 or close to 0. So another question by Rocker is, do you think ninjas can be done by everybody, or do you think there's more natural talent involved? I think everybody can be pretty good at ninjas, but I just don't think that everybody can progress at the same speed. I think it takes longer for some people to do it than others. So the next question is by Encryptors, and he says, what got you into Trials? When did you start, and who was the first ninja player that you saw? Alright, so I started playing around 4 years ago, and the main thing that kept me was I saw a run by Grief on Mabarilsi, and that track's on Evo. And he had 28 faults, and everybody else had like 100 plus faults, and there was only like 4 or 5 people on the leaderboards, and for some reason I thought that was pretty sick. So I just kept playing to see if I could ever get that good, and eventually I did. But the first player that I actually saw that was really good was Mabes VX. And the next question is by Preda, and he says, what are your best Trials memories and your favorite players that you've met? I don't really know what my favorite memory would be, but I think the coolest people that I've met have to be Shane, Grief, Slick, Roots, Classy, and Pex. Those are the first people that come to mind. Next question is by Seb Franks, and he says, how long do you think it will be before someone zero faults a 7, if ever? I think it's too soon to tell, because zeroing a 6 is already hard. Not to mention the one that I did was not that hard of a 6, so I think jumping to 7s would be too soon. Next question is by Otter Halo, and he says, what games do you play besides Trials? Also, do you play any Evolution? No, I don't play any Evolution, and I think the 2 or 3 games that I play as of right now would have to be For Honor, Call of Duty, and Forza. Next question is by Slick Scythe, and he says, I have a really stupid question, and I'm not really sure why I'm writing this in the first place, but why the heck are you leaving Trials right when I'm releasing a shit ton of content or tracks? Yeah, I'm not really sure why you wrote that comment either, but I don't think any amount of tracks can really save Trials for me. Next question is by Andres, and he says GT4 or Naughty. I don't know, that's for you to decide. Next question is by Nasim. I don't really know how to say the rest, but he says, for you, who's the best actually in Hard Ninja? Blue Badger. Next question is by Rayon Nova, and he says, why do you change your rider so much? LMAO. I don't know, I've changed my appearance in any game that I can, like, really often. I don't know, I can't help it. Next question is by Onistep, or Onistep, I'm not sure how you say it. He says, who or what pushed you into becoming a pro ninja rider? If this question was already asked, ignore mines, please. Nah, you can't tell me what to do. I'm gonna put you in here anyways. Nah, I'm just kidding, but yeah, I did answer this question earlier in the video. Next question is by Ubilube, I think that's how you said it. And he says, what is your favorite run that you did? I don't really care about the runs as much, I really care about the videos, so I would think my favorite video has to be my Leviathan run. Next question is by Matthew DiCarlo. He says, where does King Stilo or Estilo come from? So Estilo came from me looking for a gamer tag, and I decided to search what style meant in Spanish, or what style was in Spanish. And King, I just think it's a cool title to have, so I decided to throw it behind Stilo. Next question is by Splash, and he says, how long did it take you to progress from Ninja level 1 through 7? So I'd say I went through level 3 pretty fast. That was the first one that I learned about. Level 4, I went through pretty fast as well. Level 5, 6, and 7 all took pretty long, and those were on Fusion. Alright, so this next guy basically wrote me a novel, and he says that something's wrong with his triggers, and I don't really know what that means, but if somebody from the PS4 community can help him, then please do. This next question says, would you rather have a new Trials in the future or in the presence? I'll definitely say for the presence. I feel like it would be a lot better for the editors. This next question is by Doodle, and he says, why do you now go for more speedrun type runs on ninjas rather than trying to pass new 7s and 8s? I think it's just because I have a lot more fun on a track that I can actually be consistent at and pass every time and actually get like good scores on rather than just passing the track. Next question is by Ty Borsdorf, and he says, if you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? As long as it's healthy and it tastes good, it could be anything. The next question is by Ty, I don't really know how to say that, but he says, what drives you to keep playing this game? Nothing makes me want to play this game as of right now, but back then it would probably have to be making videos. Next question is by Camps, and he says, top 3 favorite artists of all time, any genre. I'd say the top 3 would have to be Post Malone, Eminem, and J. Cole. Next 2 questions are by JKT84, and he says, do you get more satisfaction out of zeroing a tough track or passing an insane track? I feel like passing an insane track is more of relief whenever you pass it rather than satisfaction, so I'd probably have to say zeroing. And the next question would be, what would be the most important change that you want to see in the next game? It'd probably have to be the garage. The garage is probably the only thing I care about. Next question is by Jukes408, and he says, if a new Trials game comes out, assuming it's good, will you go hard? I'm not sure. I feel like any answer I give right now would probably just be in the moment, so I can't really tell you until it's here. Alright, so this next question is by Gastemate, and he says, how long have you been playing Trials for, and do you think the community will die out soon? So like I said earlier, I've been playing for around 4 to 5 years, and no, I don't think the community will die out because everybody knows each other pretty well, so I don't really think that's going to happen. But anyways, I'm going to move into the last set of questions for this video. So finally on the last set of questions, and I'm just going to get right into it. So first question is by Champy, and he says, your top 5 builders. So the top 5 builders for the tracks that I like to play would have to be Danner's Mac, Slick Scythe, Trav, Real 7, and Sparkle. So the next question is by the homie Trav, and he says top 5 favorite ninja tracks, not including Evo. So it'd have to be Oblique, Dome 2, Leviathan, Crimson Day, and Sabotage. Next question is by Jacob GW45, and he says, do you still have fun with trails? I only have fun with trails if I'm making a video. Next question is by MacGyver377, and he says, what are your favorite types of tracks to play? Is there a process to which level 5 you try to zero? And what is your favorite sandwich? So my favorite types of tracks to play would be between level 3s and level 7s. For grinding level 5s, I usually just look at the track and I can tell if it's zeroable or not based on if the checkpoints are consistent or not. And I just make sure by going through and playing it through a few times. And my favorite sandwich would probably have to be a grilled cheese. Next question is by Travis Fear, and he says, when did you realize that you wanted to focus on low or zero faulting ninjas? I'd have to say after I lost interest in playing level 7s. So the next question is by Ninja Flows, and he says, what are your 3 best achievements in Trials? So I think my 3 best achievements would have to be getting lucky enough not to die right here, somehow catching this Fender, and I guess the last would have to be creating the box technique. So the next question is by RSLT Trials, and he says longest grinding session. I think my longest grinding session was probably back on a track on Evo called Prepostinate. Alright, so the final question is by Lorcan Smirsh. He says, do you like Trials, the community, the game itself, and the developers? Looking forward to this. So no, I did not have any problems with anybody in the community. The game itself, I still enjoy the game, but it's been boring recently. And finally, the developers. I don't really know the developers, so I can't really say I have an opinion on them. But I hope everybody was looking forward to this video. I hope everybody enjoyed this video, and I'll probably have another one in the future. I'm not sure, but thank you guys for watching, and I'm out.